Today is Monday, October 28, 2024, and this is a special board meeting of the Pocahontas Public Schools. Dr. Arbuckle, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so I appreciate your time this afternoon. We are here to decide. We've had a question from the Division of Facilities regarding our clarification of the written determination. As we kind of talked about before, the division has approved tentatively for our high school project. There has been some question recently on the gymnasium, and so I kind of want to talk about like the question we need to answer and how we got here, just so we're all on the same page. So the Dr. Stein and I have been trading emails and asking questions of the division regarding how they arrived at their number of fundable square footage. And Dr. Stein has joined us to answer any questions that the board may have in that realm as well. And one of the things that came up is on one of the documents, the high school gym was approved for demolition. And then it wasn't included on some calculations. And so when Dr. Stein started asking some questions of the facilities division, one of the things, and you have the question there, I think it was the last document that I gave you, it says written, high school edition written determination. One of the questions is, why do those two documents, why do they not agree right now? One says that we're going to tear it down, or we can tear it down, or it's set for demolition, and the other does not include it in the calculations for fundable square footage. Okay, and so Desiree sent a question and the requisite rule that goes with that, that basically says the state will not participate in addition projects concerning gymnasiums, media centers, or auditoriums if the district already has the space. And then the question that she's asking is, please let me know if the district intends to keep the gym or not. It says, but that is what we had from the project site visit notes, that we were going to keep the gym. Okay, let me tell you why those are on the notes to the best of my recollection. When they were here and we were walking through the high school, and there was a team of 3 from the division. Desiree was a part of that, and there were 2 others, and they were walking through the entire facility, looking at it and making notes for the FCI. Basically, you know, what are the parts of systems. What are the parts of the systems that need to be replaced? Well, when we walked into the gym, the first thing that was stated as we're looking at it, the first one of them looked at me and said, "You know, you're not getting a new gym." I said, "Okay, I mean, that's whatever y'all, you know." And he said, "Well, we're not doing that anymore." I said, "Okay, well, that's then, you know," but they kept looking at it. And so the information I felt like I had that moment was, we're not approving the gym. We're not gonna give you, you know, the gym. And I'm, you know, a few months into the position, I'm like, sure, okay, whatever y'all are gonna do. And so that's why I think it says on those notes that we're gonna keep the gym, because that was the statement that was made to me, and I just took it at face value. And so, but it seems like from the questioning at this point, the division is asking us, I mean, it's put the ball in the district's court, as far as, do we intend to keep it? Because if so, they're not going to calculate it, and it would not be there for partnership funding. Or do we intend to get rid of the gym and ask for partnership funding for a new space of that part of the building? Dr. Stein, have I articulated that appropriately?
Yes. I'm not sure though if we need to sort of back out to see a bigger picture of all of this. So yeah, so you have certainly, stated this right.
What is it? Let's go ahead and, as you say, back that out. Share with the board what you think everybody needs to know so that we're all on the same page, if you don't mind.
Yes. So we applied for the 24 master plan to, as you know, rebuild a part of the high school. And we had some meetings with the state late of 23, and we did receive the letter 2 months ago saying we're approved. So we know we're approved. Right now, the letter said we're approved though for 21,900 square feet. And so that's the issue we're looking at, is how much new space will they pay us for? Now, the state lowered the overall number of students. We said in the application we would need 616 students for 9 through 12. They lowered that in their review, and they said you only need space for 550 students. And these numbers we are based on those numbers of students. So running the POR for 550 students says you need 96,000 square feet of a brand new school. If you're going to start over and build a brand new school, you need 96,000 square feet. So we applied though to tear down a number of buildings. And so most of these school buildings, we said we were tearing down. So we're leaving though the newer buildings on your campus. We're actually leaving the 4 classroom, 2 lab addition, agri building staying, the business stays. So that's about 31,000 square feet of school buildings staying. So running the analysis then says you need about 66,000 square feet of new spaces. Now, the state came in there and they said you should replace, you can replace the gym, math, science wing. And the mix-up is the state said, or they believe you want to still use the prior gym. So space there for a new gym is around 13,000 square feet. So your issue you have now is, do you want to use the old gym you have, or tear down the old gym and build a new gym? The amount of money you would receive additionally tearing down the old gym would be around $3 million. And now, in my view, though, building a new gym is going to be $6 million. So you're still spending more of your money tearing down the old gym and building new. Something you need knowing, though, the law says that if you're building new spaces now, your new spaces, must place in there a storm shelter. So a lot of school districts now, if you build a new dining space or a new gym, they use that as a storm shelter. That's sort of, solves that problem. So bottom line is, do you want to use the old gym or tear down the old gym to see about $3 million more of funding?
What would be our total partnership if we did, with the additional space, if we did decide to put the gym on with it?
So your number now, based on the 21,000 square feet of number, that's around $4.5 million. So if you tear down the old gym and replace that, so now you're around $7.5 million.
But either way, if we go to building new space, we're going to have to make it storm capable whether we build the gym or not, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Does the basement count as a safe room? The gym has the basement under it.
I don't know. I'd have to look into it. Do you know, Dr. Stein, if we were to put the gym the current gym has a basement underneath it, would that, if we left the gym and just built the 29,000 square feet, would we be able to count that basement as a storm shelter, or would we have to put an additional one on the new building, even though the old gym stays?
Yeah, so my view on that is two things, I guess. We would need somebody looking to say your basement
Yes, the square
could
footage.
serve as your storm shelter. And then secondly, if somebody said yes, it can, well then we would need some waiver of building the actual new space. I'm aware of some districts, they already had a storm shelter and then they were building new spaces. I'm not exactly sure, how that all plays out, but the law now is pretty firm on saying that we're building new spaces, and those spaces need a safe room rating.
So we'd be pretty safe in saying the assumption should be we're probably going to need to build another one, a new one.
Because it would double
I'm
as a
assuming
safe.
that.
Right. No, I mean,
Another
probably
safe room.
have to build another safe
Do you know
room.
how many
If
square
we
foot
don't
our
demolish
school would
the gym?
need for a safe room for that?
Either
If
way.
you demolish it,
Versus
sounded like
how many students
you
we
could
have?
make it a gym would be your safe room.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes, so
I missed
this
the
is
question.
something where they sort of use the classroom. So the POR is based on so many students in every room. 25 in the elementary grades, more than high school. The safe room, though, is built on code standards, saying you may place, more students in those rooms. So the standard I know is 5 square feet per person there in the safe room. The POR is based on 550 students, and the code says you may place more students in those rooms. You have your teachers there, with your staff. So I'm making just a wild guess. Maybe 1,000 is people in a safe room, and so 5 square feet per person. A safe room is maybe 1,000 square feet.
So can you do 2 big classrooms of 2,500 apiece, or does it have to be one big room?
So my understanding is you may have several rooms, you know, serving 4-year safe rooms.
Dr. Stein, do you know, at one point, you know, there was some conversation about the interpretation of that safe room law, and it was, seemed to be some tension between, is it the number of kids or the number of people in the building on any given day, or is it the number of people who might be on campus for like a basketball game or something like that? Is there any guidance on that right now, or do you know?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So like if you did this in your gym, and your gym was rated for 2,000 people, then maybe you would need, you know, 5 square feet times the 2,000, or around 10,000 square feet. So you're exactly right. And like I said, the number of people in the safe room is based more on code really instead of the POR numbers per room. So you're exactly right. It ties in with the architect sort of, you know, knows more, those rules there.
Are we still kind of basing everything off the original plans with an auditorium, so on and so forth? Or
No, I mean, and the short version is, you know, again, as I've talked with Todd, the architect, we're not going to be able to use those plans because those plans were constructed for a 99,000 square foot building. You know, the idea of just kind of like shrinking it, they're going to have to redraw them anyway.
Okay.
How did the state take away 66 students from the 616 to the 550?
So,
What do they base that on?
so I'm gonna restate the question so that Dr. Stein makes sure he hears it, because he may have more information than I do.
Okay.
But the question is, Dr. Stein, how did the state go from from where they were 600 and some students to 550? And if I understand right, that's based on the enrollment projections that DESE provides to the facilities division. Is that correct?
So yes, so they make them years, so they have the real number of students every year, and so they have a 10-year look ahead there, and based on live births in the county and other factors, they run some numbers. So they show you for 550 students.
So the number of current students is going to be built into there, and then they're projecting out.
Yeah.
And so again, it kind of, you know, we've talked about in the past how transfers out impact us in various ways. This is one of those ways that I think kiddos transferring out, making our live classroom data, you know, our live grade level data going down, and that trajectory has been slowly decreasing. That's where those 65 kids are going, right? That's the correction
But that's
DESE's
just
providing for that.
I mean, I get that, but that seems like a very narrowed view because you're looking at 3 years that we've had declining enrollment. For the previous 15, we had increasing enrollment. You know, I mean, it's a really small window to say, okay, for the next 10 years, you're still going to have declining. We're not going to give you, you know, that doesn't. But
I'm gonna
we're not going to
say-
change their mind.
I'm going to say they probably are seeing a trend also, in, you know, because of the more homeschooling and micro schools.
Because
And
of the funding that they get now.
I know.
Because it's taken away from us and it goes to them.
I
I
agree.
have a question. You know, in the past, when we did the elementary school, and then we made plans for the high school, we were able
Looking at
to
doing an
apply,
auditorium
as the
for, like,
stage we are right
band
now, we would
arts,
apply,
or-
let's say these, for
Because that
example,
could be
apply to
additional
include a new
space that we
gym
could
in.
get money for,
Once
correct?
we get cost in, can we drop that part of it if the costs run too much? Are we able to scale the project back?
So yes, a pen always scale back. Scaling up, no, that's why I tell the school district, more instead of less. Do have the opportunity to scale back. So the process is, my view would be that to tell the state, I guess, you're going to tear down the old gym, to have them provide you more money now. And then, as we get ahead, with some plans and all, then you may see, that costs you more money. So then we could scale back.
And then I would assume the division would then recalculate their partnership money.
Yeah, so that they would add on the additional space of a new gym to that, so you would receive more money.
That's
So
kind
we
of,
should learn the money somewhere around May of next year following the legislative session.
that was my thinking, and in the past, if you don't put it in the formula, then you can't get it. But you can always scale back. And he answered that question, yes, you can scale back once costs start coming in. And we may decide that's not feasible and make a priority, which I think we've kind of established classroom space for our high school students is our highest priority. So we can always scale back.
Mm-hmm. Well, good.
But you can't get it.
Because I think that corrects what you had asked me, and I think I gave you the wrong information. Because that's what he clarified.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking. It's better to ask for possibly the most that you want, and then, like I say, you always do have an opportunity to possibly scale back.
I just don't see
And-
any way that we're gonna build a new high school and get support from the community and support from the school without including a new gym. I mean, we're gonna have to include a new gym.
Well, with $7.5 million, that's not very much.
It's not very much money,
Well,
but I
$3 million for the
think,
gym, so it would be $192 a square foot that would provide us for that new gym.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair, because
yeah.
we're gonna have to come up with another 100 out of our own pocket or so.
and plus the way you're gonna tear down buildings, I mean, how would you tear that building down? Just to the entrance of the gym? Or are they saying that whole hall can't come down?
No, the original, I say the original, the older math
The old-
science
right, but it's
gym would
connected.
all come down.
They wouldn't tear down
The newer,
with the lab that they built 15 years
So
ago.
the
They
old
wouldn't tear
hall-
that down. The old restrooms, the old hall where it stops.
And then you just have an outdoor opening to the gym, or you'd have to connect to it from something?
No,
Like
that-
you
that-
mean
that'd be
reconnect.
rebuilt.
yeah, it'd reconnect.
Okay,
That would be rebuilt.
that just doesn't make,
Because
that doesn't
actually,
make any
the
sense.
way it's set in, new plans, who knows what, but the way it was set in, it was 2-story here and 2-story here.
Okay.
You would actually come down, where the gym's at now, would have been a 2-story classrooms.
Right.
You got
But
that
what I'm
set.
saying is if the gym stayed, you're
Yeah.
disconnecting a building from a gym.
But you're gonna
Because that
add,
center part is what you have to tear down.
but you're gonna add new there. They just gonna
Until you build
rebuild
it back.
Right,
yes, yes.
okay. Yeah,
Is that
okay.
right, Craig?
Yes.
Craig is-
And they actually, in the old plans had, when you go to high school, instead of having the steps, they had actually built in a hallway to
Okay.
walk
To back-
down,
to the
back
back.
into the gym, and the lobby and all that stuff.
Okay,
But one of the things they did tell us that, while that process was going on, that we could still use the math and science wing while construction was going on.
Yeah.
They were gonna make that work.
You just have to access the gym either from down below or the
Yeah.
coach's office side, but it would still be usable. They would just wall it off.
To me, looking at, because we don't know what the cost is gonna come in, You know, I would think let's ask for that for a new gym. We've got space on the end here, you know, where we had talked about. It will be elimination of these buildings like the old, music building, the, home ag, you know, and there'll be space there for that, and that's what we had talked before. It was a lot cheaper to build it there than it would be anywhere else because of the lay of the land, you know, because it was gonna have a mezzanine around it, you know. But if we have to scale back, obviously that may be the place we have to scale back.
Well, I would say, if we get 7.5 million, and we've got 17 million, and if we could get another 5 million for bond, we'd have 29 million, or almost 30 million. We commit to 25 million for a new school, that would give us 83,000 square foot, which would be $300 a square foot. I think
That's
we
not
could
enough, is
easily,
it?
I think we could easily get that done.
Dr. Stein, I want to ask a clarifying question, because you had talked about at the beginning that the high school facility needed to be, from a POR standpoint, 96,000 square feet, correct?
But he took away.
The business, agri. and-
Okay, so
Math and
when we
science.
take away those other facilities and we have 66,000 square feet necessary, that's new structure. So if we built more than that, that's okay. We just couldn't build less than that.
So, yeah, so you may build, you know, more space, and so you pay, of course, for that. The school, of course, would have to have the POR spaces, like if it says you need 17 rooms, you need so many rooms and so many labs and all that.
So you could do 83,000, you could have 13,000 of it, and you'd still have 70,000 left for classrooms or cafeteria. 10,000 for cafeteria and 60,000 for classrooms, which is basically what I had figured on that one plan. It doesn't mean that's where it needs to go. But, you know, I think that the new gym, if we have to do a safe room anyways, I think the new gym would be the best avenue for a safe room.
And I think that's how we sell it to the public, so
This
far
is
as
a safe room for them.
it is, you know,
It's
in order
required by
to,
law.
Yeah.
it's required, you know, as opposed.
We're not gonna send you to the fairgrounds in the middle of a football game.
Right.
Yeah.
Another option, I don't know if it's possible, would be, you know, we're gonna spend $500,000 tearing down the existing gym. Is there any way to spend $500,000 on turning that into some sort of little auditorium, you know what I mean? I don't know if you can.
Can we keep it at all?
Yeah.
Well, I think we have to replace it, do we not? If we get paid for it, we can't
Give
use
you a
it.
scenario, suppose we build a new gym, but we wanna keep our existing gym. What is the state requirements? I
You
know
can
we
use
can't
it for
put kids back in
administration.
there, but is that, where would we stand on something like that?
So you may keep space they have said you may replace, as long as you have no students in there. So some school districts in space, you know, turn buildings like into storage. Some of your school administration, like school district administration, PG centers, but if you have the idea, we're gonna use this as a gym for practice or something, the state will say, you're still using that and you lose all of that.
Yeah. Well,
Funding.
I mean, there's one thing that's down the road, but we might could find a use. Here's the thing, we save money on demolition if we kept the gym. We could use it for adult, you know, anything, with adults, they use it for.
I think what we're gonna run into,
Conferences, they could use it for anything. But here's my idea from a construction standpoint, I know, Chad, you know about this. When you start disturbing that hillside, you could really open up a can of worms. So if we could keep that building there and later on find a use for it, whether it's storage or whatever. Because I'm afraid we start, and I've also mentioned this before, that, you know, they were really afraid when we was gonna go around the old cafeteria where it sits now, that it really could cause some issues with stabilization. You know what I'm talking about?
I think we're gonna run out of space, though, if we try to, keep it.
Not use that square footage for something else, whether it be a replacement gym or.
Where would we
classrooms.
put, like say, if we had the fairgrounds, it wouldn't be an issue, but since we don't, I think we're gonna run out of
Well, just
space.
after you guys leave here today, look at all the parking spaces that are empty. I feel like we could use half of our parking area for a new high school.
You could shift parking.
And the parking would go down the softball field.
Nobody
baseball
parks
field.
down by the baseball field.
And then we could put new parking spaces where we at, right here, behind that would also accommodate, administration parking to go to the high school. And, we could bring the high school out farther out and have plenty of space for that, if you guys didn't like it like I had proposed where it's at, And the one bad thing about my proposal was the foundation is gonna be 10 foot deep on that end, which is a lot of money in foundation work. But if you put the foundation over the parking lot, it's almost gonna be level, which saves a lot of money in foundation.
But if we're keeping, okay, so we have to keep the business building and the math and science, the new wing.
Yeah, see, we have the road
You
between the
could bring
business.
it out towards business and just make the thoroughfare.
We just have
No,
a
but
thoroughfare
actually,
between it.
before, it
That's
would've
short.
came out to the sidewalk.
Who's-
That's why, we run into issue with those, stones that's in there from graduating class, they would have to be moved because the building's gonna come out.
You've also got room for a parking lot to replace, between what's the wooden building on the corner of the intersection over here?
Helmet.
Home Ec. So behind the Home Ec building to the softball, or the football dungeon, or whatever you call it, two-story.
Complex.
Is there a
Sports
There's
reason?
a big parking area right there, you could put parking in there.
Well-
Is there a reason that we have to keep the high school facing Thomasville? Why can't we turn it? Or like, why can't we L-shape it or where it connects to
could
business?
do
and it
any
connects,
of
you know what I
that.
mean? Like,
My thinking is that you move the existing high school out about 100 feet. You still got room for 1 or 2 parking spaces, but
Yeah.
you won't have room for 6 or 7 like we have now.
right.
And then the parking now goes down the softball end. If you need more, you put it right here behind this building, or you put it,
But keep in mind, though, there's students going back and forth. from
Well, that was my
the
thought
math
of
and
you
science
turned
wing.
it, you're connecting.
yeah,
junior
you would
high.
still have the crosswalk, across the driveway.
I think there's a lot of possibility. I think what we really need to decide today is whether we want to apply for a gym
And I'd say
with,
yes.
with the option of scaling back if we have
I
to.
would say you get an extra $3 million, and I'd be fine with it.
I think so too.
I don't think we need a gym, but that's the way I am.
I think public perception and public opinion is, I want a new gym.
Well,
Sloan Henry
here's-
gonna build a new gym,
High school,
I want a
new
new
gym.
gym.
Here's my suggestion.
And if it can double as the safe room, then that
This-
achieves that issue we've
Yeah,
been discussing.
but
for
I think,
months.
that's one thing, like say, in the first time I think they went through this, the 2 millage tries, I never had anybody explain to me that the gym would double as the safe room that was required.
Because
It
at
didn't
that
at the
time,
time.
it wasn't
It
going to because it
okay.
wasn't
It
required.
wasn't required then, okay.
This is a change in the law
Gotcha.
since the last time.
Okay.
Well, here's what I learned during the last, millage elections that we had. We first proposed this as a high school addition without a gym, and then we got barraged. Why can't you build a gym? Well, we were able to put that in there, and, for 3.4 mils. So that all worked out. I know things have gone up and, things are different now. But I would like to take this to the public to see what you want. Do you want, this is what it's gonna cost us with a gym. And more of that cost is gonna have to be borne by the local district. That's not any facilities money in that. To say, here's our options.
The thing I think that you get, whenever you put it to a vote, you get your community's input on it at that point. The problem that you're going to have 25 different ideas. We've got to come up with one that seems logical and the best bang for our buck, and, then present it that way. But yes, I do agree that, we do need the community's input, but we don't need 50 ideas
No.
thrown at us.
No.
Everybody's
Well, I think
opinion.
the only idea what we would have to have, do you want a gym, this is what's gonna cost you? Do you just want a high school edition, this is what's gonna cost you? You know, and weigh those two. I would be for proceeding forward with a new gym
On the plan.
on the plan, and
Yeah.
with the option to scale back. At least we have an option there.
Yeah, you can always backtrack. You can't ask for more. So, I'd say that's probably pretty much. I think we're all in a kind of agreement on that.
Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and can you turn that into a motion?
I will make the motion that the school district proceed forward with, pursuing partnership funding from the state to build a new addition to the high school with a new gym.
A second.
Been a motion and a second to pursue partnership funding in addition to with the gym. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Just one other thing that we wanted to put on your radar, because we're starting to take a closer look. You know, you have I gave you
Are we through with Dr. Stone?
well, I don't know. This might be something he wants to
Okay.
listen to, because I want to talk. I want to talk baseball here for a minute, and you'll see why we're going to talk baseball. But I've given you the guiding principles and the goals that we put in the facilities plan, and I did that just to make sure you had them in front of you as we're having this quick discussion. And again, this is more to put this on your radar, and then we can talk more about this at the work session that's scheduled for next Monday evening, if that's something you'd prefer. On our facilities plan, we have baseball and softball, taking a look at perhaps remodeling at some point, that kind of thing. We also have next spring, we are scheduled to host the district baseball tournament.
Softball and baseball.
Okay, softball and baseball.
Is that a rotation or did we volunteer to do it?
It's a rotation.
That's a rotation. Now, we have I am concerned, as I know, Craig and I think Coach Brewington and Coach Knopf, they've looked at it again. I looked at it with Coach Knopf, Coach Brewington last spring.
Excuse me. When are we slated?
This spring.
This spring.
This spring.
Yeah.
This spring.
Okay.
And we're already, we've already had some conversations about asking Mr. James and his crew to build some new bench for both of those dugout facilities. But there are more issues with those facilities. And so, just looking at them, we're looking at siding. Now, we're not talking lighting right now. Right now, we're just talking the dugouts, the press box, fences, things like that. We have a list of items that need to be addressed. Okay?
ASAP.
So we have a couple of options. One, we address the issues. Well, one, we don't address the issues and we just have host the district tournament, and I don't think that's going to be the best thing for the district, right? Two, we address the issues and host the district tournament. Or three, we just say, this isn't in our timing right now. We're going to address them, but we're not going to address them right now, and we're going to pass on the district tournament, which we could. Now, there's ramifications for all of those, right? That third one means that, if you go back to when we host the area, the regionals, the state track meets, that's money to our community. Having that district tournament is going to be dollars in our community. So this is something that, I want y'all to kind of think about over the next week or so unless you want to talk about it now, but.
Did you send that to us? I didn't.
No, I haven't, because we just kind of,
Okay.
I'm just putting this on the radar as of this morning, right?
Do y'all
So-
have kind of an idea of cost that we need to, if, to
I'd
get
like
it
to
ready?
hear that list.
No, we haven't
Okay.
pulled that yet.
Okay.
Can
okay.
we hear the list? Please, may we hear the list?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. So the dugouts, we're looking at siding, roof, ceiling, benches, the press box. Probably need to paint the press box, get a new sign, address the PA system, repair the fence where it needs fences. There's caps missing on fence posts. The foul poles need to be repainted at the very least, perhaps replaced. The bathrooms need to be addressed. We got doors that need to be replaced, siding that needs to be addressed, painting doors and windows at the concession stand.
I'm sorry, on the bathrooms, when you say addressed, what do you mean addressed? Is that?
The bathroom
they
doors need to be
spruced up,
replaced.
or they need to be completely gutted, or I mean, what's the?
No, well, at the minimum, we need to address the siding, and the bathroom doors need to be replaced so that you can lock them and people go in there without having to worry about others coming in.
The frames are
I've
disintegrating.
never had to use the facility.
Well,
Use that frame.
and another thing, I think it's on your list, but the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
But that wouldn't be something we could achieve before the district tournament.
I don't think the lighting.
Right,
would
so I
be
mean,
enough.
that's, okay, so.
Those are just
with-
like things that.
Cosmetic kinds of
Yeah,
things.
that definitely we could just go ahead and do. I think it needs an overall, you know, really, but this takes priority.
So probably 50 to 100,000.
I guess Dr. Stein hung up.
Are you thinking 50 to 100,000?
I haven't even started to look at it yet.
Is that, do we have enough time? I mean, that's what, 6 months?
Oh, sure.
I would
You're
think
not
so.
building new, I think, I mean.
Well, I think if you kind of divide it out, maybe you can get a local contractor
Fine, as
come
long as they
in
use
with
local
siding
people,
and say, hey, we need to do this, and this, and maybe get another contractor to do the fencing. You know, we got people here locally that in the past we've done, when we remodeled the restrooms at the football field, we had a local contractor. It was under the cap. you
If we
know,
sub it, like if
that
we
you
do
had
it a
to
little
have,
at a time.
An architect, and they came in, did a great job, and, you know, and people's looking for work in the wintertime. So I would say, let's talk about it next week, but I'd say, let's fix it up the best we can for right now. But
I'd be in favor of not pushing the tournament. That's not PR. That's not good PR for our district or the community. I mean, that's just, I think that's bad all around. I don't like option 3.
I figure you'd have to have multiple baseball fields to host a tournament like that. It's not.
They come on different
No.
days, won't they?
not a district.
Will they come different days?
Yeah,
It goes
throughout
on
the
all
day.
week.
Yeah.
Sometimes I may play, whether Craig, I start some games like at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
and I play
yeah,
I'll start them early.
We need to get the city to set up like a food truck area. Look at the fairgrounds. I mean, nothing out there. Get
Yeah,
your,
that cuts into concessions for our students.
yeah, but
I just served 100 ice creams in an hour and a half at my store when I was stuck with myself the last
it's
time.
concession stand food, and they're not gonna be out there cooking burgers.
Well, I know
So-
at the track meet, and Dr. Arbuthnot alluded to it, I know Coach Chester told me that Subway had the biggest day in history.
Yeah.
They run out
Hello.
of stuff. There were so many people
Hello.
here in Pocahontas.
So,
Volleyball is leaving if we want to go
yeah,
and send them off.
you guys want to take a quick break? I want to see volleyball off if that's okay.
I have an appointment at 1, so I'm gonna step.
My shop,
Okay.
lot, and house and all.
I got it's 12:50. We're back from seeing our girls off for the state tournament. Okay, so getting back to this, would you all like then? What we'll try to do is we'll try to put some rough numbers to some of these things and bring that back on, or you want to just start moving ahead?
I would. My personal thing is, get us a list and put it out for bids, like I say, to the local people, and
I mean, we'll have to do that
Break it
anyway.
up. Yeah, like the fence company we've got, 2 or 3.
and I'd say move forward with it because, like I say, it's good to host the district tournament
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe we can get the city to, for those days, to give us 50% of the tax revenue that they get.
All right.
Seems
Anything
only
else for the
fair.
good of the cause? All right. We just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
My motion.
Ruth.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.